Hey everyone, welcome back. I've been seeing a lot of water types recently in the Open Great League. The Quagsires, Whiscash, the Azumarils, Lanturns, they're everywhere. There's a lot of different water types. Some people running ABA water, ABB water. It is literally everywhere right now. I figured what is going to be better to counter those water types than the grass type Pokemon. That is why I chose Serperior on my team. It's very bulky, it has very quick charging moves, and Frenzy Plant is very impactful. So let's take a look at what Serperior is going to be able to do in the Open Great League meta today. Let's head into game number 1, see what Serperior can do for us here. The Shadow Dragonair lead, so not a water type, but it does have water type damage against us, right? It has Aqua Tail, but they likely are just going to throw Body Slams plus the Dragon Breaths. Hopefully Serperior is going to be able to neutralize this enough for a Shadow Quagsire to have play into the backline. I know that this Body Slam will not knock us out. We can get to these 2 Aerial Aces and potentially knock them out or draw a shield, or maybe even just whittle them down here. The first one will come through. Is it going to be able to 2-shot them? I don't think it will, just barely. I'd probably have to reach that Frenzy Plant if we wanted to, but it would be very close whether or not I could get that. I didn't want to take the risk. Just go for the guarantee here, get to this next Aerial Ace, and hopefully draw a shield. Unfortunately not. They know they survived that. They get the full farm down against us, and likely they can Aqua Tail our Skarmory. I know that Skarm normally doesn't have much play in the backline with these Dragonair leads, and I also am pretty certain that my Quagsire will. So now that this Dragonair is out of the way, I'm going to basically invest everything I can into our Quagsire to sweep this endgame. They do show the Bastiodon, and then the Azumarill comes in. So this isn't the best situation, but I know Shadow Quag, if you get baits properly here, you actually win the 2-shield without even taking a charge move. That Basti only has 1 Smackdown as well, so I know I can get to 2 Aqua Tails if I can come out of this matchup alive with my Quagsire. They make a great read. They actually end up shielding that first Stone Edge. What this means is now I'm going to have to bait. If I don't get a bait properly here on this next shield, there is no way I can knock out this Azu before they reach an Ice Beam and actually land it against our Quagsire. I'm going to try here. Do we get the bait off? We do. We get that bait. Now we have to race to the charge moves. Can I get to 2 moves before they get to their 3rd Ice Beam here? We can shield this up, hopefully do 1 move, then throw a Stone Edge, and hope for the best that we can maybe get to this next Stone Edge here after this one is launched. I think right now they are 3 bubbles away from their move. If we can do 4 and get our move, I think we'll be able to knock them out. We do. We get the Stone Edge right when they get the Ice Beam. This should be more than enough to knock out this Azumarill here. It will take out the Azu, and now we'll be able to get to 2 Aqua Tails before they can even get a Stone Edge against us. And our Skarmory, it might not be in the best matchup against a Bastiodon, but what we have is all this chip damage, all these Mud Shots, all these Aqua Tails. It will put it into range where Steel Wings and even Sky Attacks or Brave Birds will start threatening this Bastiodon. This next Aqua Tail comes through. It's going to do a lot of damage. It does, and now Skarmory is going to be able to come in and take out its arch nemesis here, the Bastiodon. Obviously, the charge moves don't do much damage, but now that we're not running Air Slashes or Fast Attack, these Steel Wings are chunking down this Bastiodon. They realize there's nothing they can do against the Skarmory. No better feeling than taking out a Bastiodon with our Skarmory there. Alright, next game, a very neutral lead matchup. The fellow grass types meeting each other here in the lead. This is a little bit uncomfortable though, because I know Skarmory in the back likely will have a very little amount of play. I'm thinking it could be maybe like a Lantern in the back. If that is the case, then we want our Quagsire against it, but I don't really know what our Skarmory is going to do this game. They are staying in this lead matchup, so maybe they are weak to Serperior in the backline. They throw a Moonblast, and I'm going to be able to outpace and get to this next Aerial Ace before they can get to theirs. This move is going to do a lot. I don't know if it will quite knock them out here, but it will put them into fast move farm down range. Let us see how much it does. It doesn't knock them out, but we can Steel Wing them down. Switch Lock our Skarmory. It might not be the best play to do this because I know there's likely a Lantern in the back, but I feel like Skarmory is going to have very little play, and I think at this point that our Serperior still might. I can go for this Brave Bird, make it so I at least get some chip damage onto this. This Brave Bird actually puts it into Stone Edge range, potentially into, Vine Whip down range if I land a move. I doubt I'll ever land another move with Skarmory, but we'll have to see if they throw the Surf or the Thunderbolt. They do throw a Surf. After that debuff, it does a lot of damage. I do actually get yet another move off with Skarm. Unfortunately, not a Brave Bird, which would have done a lot of damage, only the Sky Attack, but this chip damage is absolutely key to potentially winning this game. We come in Quagsire, and they swap out instantly into a Shadow Typhlosion, so I guess Quagsire is a huge core breaker for their backline. Not much they could do once their Lantern was out of the way. Alright, Serperior into Azumarill, one of the best leads in the game. This is exactly why I'm using Serperior here today, and in comes a Skeledirge. Alright, this Pokemon is a huge core breaker, so having this on our Quagsire is absolutely amazing. I know an Aqua Tail will not knock out them here, so I'm going to go for the Stone Edge, and they let it go. They knew the Aqua Tail wouldn't knock out, so they just hoped that they could get a Shadow Ball through, but yeah, there's not much you can do after you just let a full health and full energy Skeledirge go down. Alright, Lantern lead. We're catching all of the water types now. It was a little bit of a rough start with those leads, but now we are getting the leads that we want to see. We see that they safe swap a Shadow Dragonair. A Lantern lead, a Dragonair safe swap. I can only imagine this is either going to be a Skarmory in the back or potentially a double Dragon lineup. If it is a double Dragon lineup, that is going to be very scary for our water and grass type to try to deal with. But if it is going to be that Skarmory, I feel like we have a lot of play with Quagsire as our 3rd pick. We do take that move. We can take a second one as well. In fact, I want to. I want to get as low as possible, make it so that Lantern gets less farm down against us as they can. And what is this going to be? Just an Aqua Tail, and we are in the red now. because I do want to get less farm for that Lantern. I'm going to Brave Bird instantly. Looks like they are running Water Gun, so they don't generate energy quite as quickly. They have a lot more fast move pressure just in general, and let's see how much energy they get out of this matchup. They just barely farm us down here, about 8 Water Guns. Not the end of the world, but we do have to keep in mind this energy could matter later on. I do have my Serperior I can come into, wait down my Switch Clock because we did chip and dip, and there is that Dragon type. As I was saying, this could be problematic if our Quagsire has to face a Dragon in the back. I would much rather be seeing a Skarmory right now, but since this is going to be what we have to deal with, I'm going to try to shield this. I can either try to go for a Stone Edge, or I can try to bait an Aqua Tail. I figured they know my win condition is I need to start baiting, so I'm just going to go straight for it. If I land this, we are in a great position. It does land, and look how much damage that does, right? A Whiscash would not be able to do that much damage with a Mud Bomb, but the Stone Edge, putting in so much work. Now I can go straight Aqua Tail, start stripping shields with resisted fast attacks, and charge attacks, and see what these Aqua Tails can do. If I can get to this third Aqua Tail, then I know for sure I can take both shields and the knockout, but it looks like we just barely get Dragon Tail down before we get that final move off. Serperior, though, if I can farm this down with these Vine Whips, and if I no-shield this, I don't want to shield up a potential crunch and have a debuff come through and just lose this the game there. Luckily, no debuff. I'll shield up this next attack. If I Vine Whip this down, I did get that Brave Bird against that Lantern. They are in range where I could knock them out with a Frenzy Plant as long as they don't get to the Surf. If they survive this, they might get the Surf. They have a lot of energy, but we throw this move. How much damage is it going to do? It knocks out the Lantern, and in comes the Guzzlord. We Vine Whip down the Dragon type and barely take that game there against the double Dragon lineup. And in the next game here, the Serperior lead into an Azumarill. All right, well, just another good lead. Hopefully the backline isn't going to be quite as uncomfortable as last time. With that said, a Ferrothorn safe swap. We don't have a fighter. We don't have a fire type either. We don't have a hard answer to this. I know Serperior can put in a lot of work this matchup. These Aerial Aces will add up. It's just the question of what moveset are they running. I do want to keep my Serperior around for that Azumarill if possible, but you know, if I need to, I can line up either my Quagsire or my Skarmory against it in the back line. And what moveset are they running? If I see they're running a Steel type attack, I can just swap into my Skarmory here and get a lot of energy, get a lot of advantage out of that. They are running that Steel type move. I didn't want to swap out instantly to my Skarmory just in case they were running that Thunder moveset. If they were running Thunder, then we'd be able to just basically be two-shot here, and that is not good. Now that we see their moveset, I can absorb the energy. For some reason, they power whip us there. I guess trying to stall out their Switch Clock a little bit and not waste all of their energy, and in comes the Azu. So the thing is, I know that these Switch Clocks are misaligned, and I know that I want to do as much damage to this as I can. They probably don't want to shield an Azumarill here, because obviously I have my Serperior still around. I'm going to go double Brave Bird. This will be able to two-shot them, or at least put them so low that it is not going to be a problem anymore. They do actually end up shielding that move, and after these debuffs, an Ice Beam will actually knock us out, so that might be a little bit unfortunate, but it is what we will have to deal with here. We are going to also be able to come back in with our Serperior now, fill up a lot of energy, and try our best to make our Serperior have some more play into the backline matchup, whatever it might be. An Ice Beam does come through. Obviously, Ice Beam would knock us out from this range, and if I can get a Vine Whip down, then I'm going to have so much energy for the backline. I can throw this move against this Ferrothorn when it comes back in. I have back-to-back Aerial Aces. I don't think they quite yet have a Flash Cannon. They've realized they're not going to get that move, and in comes a Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Alright, Serperior does not want to see this, but our Quagsire in the back should have a decent matchup into it. We see right now they no-shield that move, and it does a lot of damage. It puts them into a range where Aqua Tail plus Mud Shots will knock them out. I can shield up this move. I know that a Drill Run is almost certainly coming through. It would do a lot of damage. It wouldn't quite knock us out, but I don't want to take that risk. We get to the double Aqua Tail here, and if we can get the second Aqua Tail through, we will win this game. Looks like they actually just end up top-lefting Quagsire, able to close out that backline. Alright, next matchup here, the Serperior lead into a Shadow victreebel. Alright, honestly, I didn't really know how this matchup would play out, but I'm expecting it to be somewhat positive for our Serperior because we do have this Aerial Ace. We can probably get to 3 before they can farm us all the way down, even if they go for an Acid Spray. As long as one Aerial Ace is enough to knock out this victreebel, we should probably be able to win not only shield advantage, but maybe even switch advantage. They are building up to that Acid Spray attack. It will lower our defense, make it so these resisted Razor Leafs are still going to do a lot of damage to us. Acid Spray does come through, and now as long as we can get to these 3 Aerial Aces, I think we are in a fantastic position. The second one comes through, second one will also be shielded, and we are almost at our next attack here. I'm purposely letting myself get a little bit lower just in case we don't want to give a farm down to the back line. I am thinking right now it's probably going to be some sort of Bastiodon in the back. I need switch advantage. That does knock out, so not only do we get switch advantage, but we got shield advantage. Serperior able to just destroy that victreebel, and in comes a Cresselia. Now this isn't necessarily the best thing to see because this could one-shot our Quagsire, but we have our Skarmory to be able to absorb all of the energy that this thing has, and if it is that Bastiodon in the back, that right there is why we have our Shadow Quagsire. They throw a move. What is it going to be? Future Sight? Moonblast? It is actually just Moonblast, so it's not going to do a lot of damage. They could debuff us with that, but in comes the Bastiodon, and this game is over. We won switch advantage against a very RPS alignment team. I am so happy I was able to overcome that. Okay, the next matchup here, a Vigoroth lead into our Serperior. So obviously they have a lot of fast move pressure into us. They can outpace us to the Frenzy Plants with these Body Slams, so they will get to 2 moves before we do. too. I also know, though, that Serperior is very hard-hitting with these Frenzy Plants. I might not need to knock out this Vigoroth with 2 moves. Maybe just 1 would be enough in the 2-shield matchup. With that said, going down shields might not be the best play as well. Vigoroth is a very neutral Pokemon. I have no idea what the backline might be. I can shield this up, and since they shield it, I feel like I can shield. I'll land the Frenzy Plant and either lose switch advantage but get a nice farm down with my backline, or win switch advantage and hopefully win with our Skarmory plus Quagsire backline. This next Frenzy Plant is going to come through. They actually do let it go this time. I feel like I can just let this go, farm them down with Quagsire, actually. I think Shadow Quagsire up energy has a lot of favorable matchups that could potentially be in the back. Maybe a Gligar, maybe a Charjabug, maybe a Shadow Sableye. I've seen a lot of those as well. Maybe a Skarmory. There's a lot of things that could be in the back that Shadow Quagsire could have play into. The Shadow Sableye, alright, so I have a pretty good idea seeing the Shadow Sableye. It might just be a Charjabug as their third Pokemon. This is a team that was popularized by SS Thorn when he got Legend with it. So if it is that team, keeping my Quagsire alive is going to be critical here. I know I can get this Aqua Tail off. It's going to do a lot of damage, probably just knock out this Shadow Sableye at this point, and I need to either watch for a catch or just see what they want to do this game. I know that I can get the Stone Edge. It's basically going to one-shot a Charjabug if it is in the back there, and they do throw that foul play. I'm going to throw this, build up a little bit of extra energy, but they catch on arbitrary timing. Amazing catch by them, honestly. This means that we don't get the Stone Edge off, but I think with how much energy we still have here, I can get to the Stone Edge pretty easily, and this Shadow Sableye is probably going to have to throw energy against our Quagsire to knock us out before we can get to our next move, and Skarmory at this point is going to be able to fast move them down. We can't swap out here. The Sableye is so low at this point, we can Steel Wing them down. GG's to our opponent. Alright, let's head into the next match, see what our Serperior can do. I guess not much, because this is an Alolan Sandslash, one of the worst Pokemon to see. It does a lot of super effective damage to us. It resists all of our moves, so if I can win switch advantage this game or get shields down, that could be very critical to winning this matchup. We get the first Aqua Tail through against this Annihilate. With how much of an energy lead we have, we actually get to 2 before they can even reach a Shadow Ball. I know that Quagsire is going to lose the 2 shield here. There's almost no way that I can actually flip switch, but if I can get a shield advantage, there's a chance we can actually still have play. They CMP us here on this next Aqua Tail. I know they're at back-to-back Night Slashes now. I'm going to shield this, because I know I wouldn't survive that, but I do want to strip all the shields that I can here. As long as they don't get a boost, I should be in a good spot this game, and I might even be able to get to another Aqua Tail before they can knock us out here with counters. I do get to it. They're at back-to-back, though, once again. I'm going to let this go, hope for no boost. If they do boost, though, we are in a terrible spot. Might not be able to overcome that. Yeah, I just had to say it, right? There's the boost. The boost is going to make it so now we have to probably shield our Serperior if we ever want to knock out this Annihilate. We have to shield this move up. It would be a Shadow Ball. It would basically knock us out. What is it going to be? It is Shadow Ball. Luckily, I can overfarm just a little bit here right before they get to the Night Slash. I can't farm them down because they have the Night Slash right now. Since they are boosted, that means I can't get the full farm down like I would have wanted to here. And now in comes the A-Slash. Even though this Pokemon does resist our attacks, Frenzy Plant is so powerful. You're about to see how much damage it's still going to be able to do here. It puts them almost to half health in range where Steel Wings plus Sky Attack could knock them out. If there is something in the backline that I can one-shot with either a Brave Bird or a Sky Attack or just Steel Wings, maybe there is a chance that I am still in play this game. Ice Punch does come through. They have another Ice Punch loaded now, and it's just going to be coming down to the backline. There's a chance Skarmory can have a lot of play, but what is that final Pokemon going to be? They're almost at their next move here. I make sure that I throw this right before they get to it, and now we have as much energy as possible. Can Skarmory one-shot the backline with Brave Bird? It is a Shadow Gligar in the back. I don't think this is going to be enough. Even though this is a great matchup here for our Skarmory, we are so low at this point that this Brave Bird, it won't knock them out, and we won't even be able to get the fast move pressure that we need. They overfarm just a little bit, enough to outpace our Serperior to any moves that we might be able to get to, and they, I think, are 2 Vine Whips away from getting to their move. 1, 2, they get the ace at the last second, just barely get the move, and we are going to lose that game, unfortunately, on 1 HP. That's about as close as it gets. It was a very RPS match up until the last second there. I almost was able to overcome the 8 boost as well, but, you know, sometimes it's just too much to overcome. Speaking of too much to overcome, Shadow Quag lead, save swap Bastiodon. Okay, well, after the previous game where we worked our heart out to win, I'm so happy to just get a free win there. Next game, the Shadow Empoleon lead. This is actually a pretty good lead for Serperior, believe it or not. That's because if you go straight Frenzy Plant, you actually end up winning the 2 shields. It takes 6, 6, and then 6 to get to these Drill Pecks for Empoleon, and then it is 6, 6, 5 to get to our Frenzy Plants with our Serperior. That means in the 2 shields, we will actually end up outpacing them to these charge attacks here. And if we do end up doing that, switch advantage might be useful. I know Empoleon backline sometimes have Gligar, might be Goodra, might be Wigglytuff, might be just a completely different team that I have no idea about. But either way, switch against these Pokemon might be absolutely critical. At least just taking out this Empoleon will be helpful, because I think normally this is going to be their Skarmory answer. So taking down Empoleon is going to be big to winning this game. We do get this Frenzy Plant off. We make sure to wait a turn so they don't catch on anything funny. and this move will knock out this Emp. We have a bit of health here on our Serperior, but I think if I see a Dragon, I'm just going to instantly swap out to Quagsire, because if I see this Goodra, I am almost certain it's going to be a Wigglytuff as the third. They do throw a move here, which is a little bit scary, but I'm pretty sure this is just an Aqua Tail, right? They didn't get any extra energy, and we can survive that pretty easily. We get this Stone Edge off, and now we can also go for an Aqua Tail against this Goodra, basically get the knockout in the Zero Shield matchup, winning this Zero Shield with our Quagsire. Absolutely crazy stuff. You'd expect the Pokemon that has to go for these baits, have to go for these nukes to knock out these Pokemon, wouldn't have a great matchup into the Goodra, but we end up getting that knockout, and in comes the Wigglytuff. I think we know exactly where this is going. We have the Skarmory. It's going to farm this all the way down, and this Wigglytuff has nowhere to go now that that Goodra is gone. The next opponent here, yet again, another Shadow Empoleon lead. This might be the same team, it might be a different one. Either way, we want to play out the opening matchup in a similar way. I think I actually went for an Aerial Ace bait there, which is completely useless, but that is totally fine as long as they still end up shielding it. I do shield the Drill Peck. It would basically one-shot us there, so we are going to go for this Ace of our own. Hopefully we see a shield, and they are going to shield that attack. We can go for the Frenzy Plant. Now we will actually get our Frenzy before they get theirs, so now we can wait a turn. We make sure that they don't make the catch, and this Frenzy will knock them out if they let it go. If they do shield, though, we'll play it out the exact same way. We'll keep shielding our own Serperior, try to win switch advantage, or just neutralize this Empoleon so that we don't have to worry about it with our Skarmory in the back. I'll shield this move up, make sure they're staying in here. They're one attack away from their next move, and they did actually swap out this time, so I swapped myself, and I'm thinking it is very likely going to be that same exact team with that Wigglytuff in the back. So keeping my Skarmory around for that, not bringing in Skarmory here, which you might think would be the better play, is going to be critical to winning this match. I can get to this next move. We have the Aqua Tail basically loaded right now, and we saw that last time we were in this matchup, the Aqua Tail was enough to knock them out. They throw their own Aqua Tail, but Shadow Quagsire, it has stab on ours. It's going to do a lot more damage despite it being resisted. It ends up getting the knockout. If that Empoleon comes back in, I might even be able to knock them out with this Aqua Tail here. We do get to the Aqua Tail. It will knock them out. We have a Frenzy Plant still loaded on our Serperior, and we have our Skarmory in the back that's going to be able to RPS this Wigglytuff. Bring in the Skarm, make sure they know that there's nowhere really for this Wigglytuff to go, and we can take the game there. Okay, the Bastiodon lead. I guess I kind of like this because I'm expecting that I know what's in the back. It's probably going to be a Wigglytuff and Shadow victreebel backline, so that means I need to get rid of this Bastiodon, and I need to get rid of it before our Skarmory is going to be able to see it. With that said, our Shadow Quagsire probably doesn't have a ton of play in the backline, because if it is that Charmer or that Razor Leafer, or maybe even double Razor Leaf, that's going to make it so it has no play there. I need to get as much as I can out of the Pokemon that I know are going to be useful. That means I'm going to shield up my Serperior, throw on good timing, and try to knock out this Bastiodon or start stripping shields here in the lead matchup. They do end up letting the next one go. I think at this point, I can get to this next Frenzy. They are now one Smackdown away from their next Flamethrower. I think I can fast move or just charge move them down before they get to it. Looks like this move barely does not knock out. One more Vine Whip, I guess, for us, so we hit a bit more extra energy, and now we can go for a Frenzy against this, either take a shield or over half of this Wigglytuff's health. Seeing this Wiggles in the back makes me think almost certainly there's going to be that victreebel, and the thing is, you might expect me to want to align my Skarmory into this, right? That would be the good play. That would be like the most obvious play, but since I know that my Quagsire has almost no play in the backline, just bring in the Quagsire here, use it as an energy sponge, maybe get to a move, maybe not. Let's see what they want to do this game. I'm going to no-shield this. Saving shields for our Skarmory at this point should be the best play. Icy Wind does come through, and in the back, who is surprised? It is a Shadow victreebel. Skarmory is going to have a great time, and we can close out the match there with our Skarmory. Alright, next game, the Serperior into a Whimsicott. Alright, another Whimsicott today, another Grass-type Pokemon, which means that our Quagsire does like to avoid this. Skarmory is a little bit sad it's not here, but it's totally fine as long as we start shielding up these Moonblasts properly. Moonblast would do a lot of damage. I'm going to shield this up and start spamming out these Aerial Aces. How does this Whimsicott want to play it out? I know that the last time they did actually end up surviving and maybe getting off another move against us, but this time I'm going to shield the first move, guarantee that they can't go for any like Seed Bomb baits here, go for this Aerial Ace at the last exact second. I think at this point this Ace will be enough because I did so many Vine Whips before throwing this. We do barely get that knockout there. I think that my Serperior should have play in the backline. In comes a Shadow Magnezone. I guess that's a very spicy duo. You don't normally see Whimsicott Magnezone, but I guess here we have it. Frenzy Plant likely going to draw a shield, and knowing that I would assume there's a Lantern in the back, maybe a Poliwrath, I want to bait that out. I want to keep my Serperior alive, and I know they have to swap out of this matchup. What is going to come in? It is actually going to be a Shadow Quagsire of their own. Alright, so that means that it's not exactly going to be what I thought it was, but it is still a Pokemon that our Serperior has a lot of play into. With that said, I might not want to bring my Serp into this. I want to keep my Serp around to have play into that Magnezone. I might just want to go for a farm down against this Quagsire with our Skarmory. They end up undercharging that Aqua Tail. They want to get as much energy out of this as possible. I think they want to farm me down, get an Aqua Tail into my Serperior, and make it so that Magnezone might be able to sweep me. I know I need to farm this down with Skarmory. If I can, I should have a good shot at winning this game. If I can't, and they get a lot of moves off against me, I guess that's not great. We'll just have to see what they end up going for here. That Magnezone is going to be able to come back in just a second, and we can go and come back into our Serperior and try our best to finish up this matchup with Serp. We're going to go for a very risky bait. Aerial Ace would do almost nothing, but they have to start shielding moves this game, and now are they going to throw energy at us? It looks like they do. I know they don't have a ton of energy here, at least not enough to just start spamming out wild charges and getting to enough wild charges to knock out both my Serperior and my Skarmory. They actually end up going for that mirror shot. I call it properly. Even if I didn't and that was a wild charge, I think our Skarm could easily get to a Brave Bird, but instead, since we called that, we can get this Frenzy off, take out the Shadow Magnezone here with our Serperior, and take the match there. Very spicy team by them. I honestly love the Shadow Magnezone pick. I wish I had a better one myself. All right, next game. What are we going to see? The Shadow Steelix. All right. Well, it's not the worst lead here for our Serperior, and it looks like this one's actually running Thunder Fang. That is an absolutely crazy moveset, but it means that our Serperior actually resists these fast attacks. I'm not going to do that much damage to them just with Vine Whips, but these Frenzy Plants are going to start adding up. I'll outpace them as well because of this Thunder Fang moveset. I'm surprised that it's Thunder Fang. I wonder what that's even for, but I guess Skarmory wouldn't want to see it. Quagsire, though, would have an even better matchup into it. I'll build up a little bit of extra energy here. I want to keep some of my Serperior around, keep a bit of energy, because they haven't really shown us their whole team. If they already showed the Thunder Fang Steelix, they're probably having something spicy in the back. Well, I guess not super spicy if it says Shadow Gligar coming in here, but our Quagsire can come in. I have two better answers to this in the back. I don't want to just let my Serperior go. If they stayed in that lead matchup, that means they very likely either have some sort of water type or something that's going to be very, very weak to Serperior in their backline. Aqua Tail will come through, does so much damage here to this Gligar. They're staying in even still. It really makes me wonder, what could they possibly have in the back at this point? I got the CMP, but they actually won that CMP event. Must be a very attack-weighted Shadow Gligar, but we get this Aqua Tail. I'm totally fine just shielding that move up, making it so this Aqua Tail will also get shielded or just knock out this Gligar, and they also are staying in once again. I get to this Aqua Tail before they get their move, and this move will either knock them out or draw yet another shield from our opponent. It does end up getting the knockout. Their final Pokemon, an Azumarill. Yeah, honestly, in a meta with so many Water-type Pokemon here, it is so fun using a Serperior. It can core break a lot of teams. It has a lot of play into even Pokemon that aren't the Water types, right? A lot of neutral play into Lickitungs, play into the fighters. It's a really fun Pokemon to use. I would really recommend it as long as you're not seeing a lot of Charge Bug or Fire-type leads. Alright everyone, well thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream Pokemon Go PvP nearly every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see this kind of content live, make sure to check me out there. Also, I'm going to upload a lot more videos to the channel, so if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe. Alright, well thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.